Good afternoon, everybody. Morning. I've been up since 6 a.m., so I feel like it's afternoon. Let's try that again. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
One more time. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
How you guys doing? Everybody good? You got some energy? Okay. So I'm going to need you to feed me some energy. It's been a long few days. It's been a long day already. But I am excited and happy to be here with you. Thank you to the organizers for having me. It's absolutely a privilege to be here. And I absolutely love that you are taking up space in York University. So as I was thinking about what I wanted to speak to you about, to be honest, I couldn't make up my mind. There was a lot that I wanted to share with you, but I was told I have 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something. So I wanted to be clear and to the point. And I think Che did a fantastic job in setting the stage for what we're going to talk about the rest of the day. So I want to follow him in telling a little bit of, telling a story. So my thing is, the person who tells the story has the power. I'll say it again. The person who tells the story, so the person with the mic, has the power. I can tell you anything I want to tell you, right? And until somebody else tells you something different, you have to believe it. So, as young people living in the surrounding communities of York University, do you have the power? Is your story told by you or by somebody else? Somebody else is telling your story. The media is telling your story. Researchers are telling your story. They're telling you what to believe. They're telling people who you are, how you are, and why you are the way you are. Today's conference, or this conference, is about how do you regain your power in telling your story, in who you are. How do you regain that power? So, for example, they say, and I'm not saying that folks in the room are all from Jane and Finch, or from Rexdale, or from Western Mount Dennis, but I will use Jane and Finch because we're very close. They say, youth from Jane and Finch are violent. So far, that's the narrative. That's the dominant discourse. That is what is said. They say they're hypersexual. That's what they say. They say they'll jailbirds. They go to jail a lot. Or they sell drugs. Or they're baby mothers. That is the dominant discourse around young people in Jane and Finch. But is that the only thing that's happening? I need your feedback. Is that the only thing that's happening? No. Is that the only thing that's happening? No. No. But what I do know, because I'm from Rexdale, I'm from Jamestown. What I do know is in Jane and Finch, we got brilliant young people. In Jane and Finch, we have university grads. In Jane and Finch, we have business leaders. In Jane and Finch, we have political leaders. In Jane and Finch, we have brilliant young people that says, I will be more than people expect me to be. Am I right? Yes. This is the story of Jane and Finch. Because I know, as a Rexdalian, that if you make it in Jane and Finch, you can make it anywhere. Am I right? So why are they not telling your story the way you know it? Why are they not saying more about your brilliance? More about what you stand for? more about how you've grown, how you develop, more about your diversity, diversity of thought, diversity of color, diversity of brilliance. Why are they not telling that story more? The reason is, in my opinion, research. We are not telling our stories the way they recognize it. And I say they in terms of mainstream. Mainstream will only take you serious, or it's changing, but dominant stream will only take you serious until research says so. You will only be given a check mark until research says so. So the reason you are here today is to regain power. Regain your story. Tell your story. Talk about your brilliance. Talk about who you really are. You are more than guns and drugs. You are more than baby mothers and baby fathers. You are more than jailbirds. You are brilliant individuals that is taking up space in York University. That is the story we want to tell. So how do we tell this story? How do we tell the story of who you are? Let me tell you a few stories. There's this young man that immigrated to Toronto with his family. He was one of two boys in his family. Sean. Sean early on struggled in school. But there was really not a lot of supports for him. As he developed at age 14, Sean's brother was gunned down with 4 others. Sean told me about the story of going to his brother's site, where he was murdered, and looking through his brother's back to the ground. 14 years old. What do you think that did to Sean? Sean couldn't finish school. Sean couldn't focus anymore. Till today, Sean goes in and out of the mental institution. He's now schizophrenic. Nobody supported him when he needed it. Nobody helped him up when he needed it. I'll tell you about another man. He also immigrated here with his mother and his father. Actually, his mother and father immigrated here. He was born here. Brilliant young man. Did well in school. Loved his community. Loved young people. Early on in his life, he got into some issues. He came back out the bin and he said, yo, I'm going to be more. Because the young people in my community expect me to be more. My 2 children expect me to be more. You look to get back into school. You look to get a job. Unfortunately, before he was able to do any of that, at age 26, he was gunned down 2 days ago. But the story behind this young man must be told. And the power that you have as young people and as people that understand the struggle of young people in community is telling the story. That is what ACT is for. Telling the story. He was more than gun violence. He was a father. He was a mentor. He was a leader. He was a visionary. He was somebody that said, I will be more than they expect me to be, and I will hold people up. That's who this young man was. I'll tell you a final story. Another young man immigrated to Canada. His mother was a nurse. She tried to get a job when she came with her master's degree in nursing. Couldn't get a job. Took her 5 years to get a job as a nurse. Another 5 years to save up enough money to move out of Toronto housing. In those 10 years, I'll let you know what happened to this young boy. He was shot at. He lost 10 friends before he was 20. He buried a lot of his friends. But he was given a mentor. A mentor that said these things to him and changed the trajectory of his life. A mentor that said, you will be more than they expect you to be. You will do more than they expect you to do. You are more than they expect of you. And you will be more. You're not going to drop out of school. You're going to do well. You're more than drugs. You're more than a rap star. You are a scholar. You're more than a basketball player. You are a scholar. Breaking the stereotypes of what this young boy thought he was. The only thing he thought he was. If I don't make it, if I don't get signed, if I don't go to D1, I'm going to sell drugs. This young man made it because of a mentor that poured life into him, that told him a different story. Because of that, this young man is enabled to be an executive director. Because of that, this young man is able to speak to you this morning. Because of that, we can be more. Because somebody poured into me. Somebody told me a different story. Somebody said I could be more than drugs. I could be more than guns. I could be more than basketball. I could be more than rapping. I could be something different. And that's okay. Am I right? Is that okay? So much so, these stories about us, I will now ground it. These stories about us have been so vivid that it can now be called violence against youth. These stories of you, the negative stereotypes of you, are so vivid, it can now be called violence against youth. The misplaced sympathy has turned into lowering of expectations. I feel bad for you, young black child. Don't worry about a B. Just make it through school. It's okay, you've been through traumatic times. You don't have to come every day to class. You know what? What do you like? Just tell me what you like and we'll do that. Don't worry about what society wants. No. It's misplaced expectations. You mean well, but you are more. You can be anything you want to be. Because it's hard. Life is hard. I can tell you that. You know that. I don't need to tell you. Life is hard. But that doesn't mean you don't get straight A's. Because you're resilient. You've made it this far. So you can be more. So don't let anybody tell you that your only option is college. Or your only option is trade school. Yes, there are options, but they're not your only options. York University is also an option. Your story must be told. And it must be told differently than it's been told. And the way we do that is simple. The reason you're here, research. In university, first year university, I went to Ryerson also. I failed research. Boring. I'm not gonna lie. I failed research. Because I'm like, what is this lady talking to me about? Quali who and quanti what? So my challenge is to the people that's teaching research. Ground it. Ground it in something. Research did not mean anything to me until they started to tell me how many of my brothers were not finishing high school. Or that 47 homicides have happened this year. If it's not, it's 48 or 49. Or that the Somali community is losing young men at alarming rates. Grounded. Or that us, young ghetto youth in Rexdale, are struggling and nobody knew why. Then it started to mean something. Then I knew that I needed to tell my story. So research is not easy, nor is it exciting. But it's absolutely necessary. It's absolutely imperative. So, research is what society currently recognizes as story. Dominant society. It is what is currently recognized. So if we want to tell a better story of us, we need to know and embrace research. We can turn research on its head. I'm not saying do it the way it's been done, but we need to embrace research. We need to ensure that we are at the forefront of telling our stories. They will research you. They will talk about you. Not to you, but they will talk about you. I want you to talk for yourself, to speak about your experience, to ground your experience in something. So when people say that you are just this, you say, no, I'm more than just that. I'm all these other beautiful things. But that will only happen with research. It's time to take back power. And I just ground it in that power. 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 That's what it is. Power. It's time to take back power. Take it serious. Literally. Nothing about you without you. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Yes. Nothing about you without you. You are more than drugs and guns. You are more than baby fathers and baby mothers. You are more than video or BET. Nothing about you without you. They want to talk about you, you are in the room. They want to discuss who you are leading the conversation. As a generation, we are more. But our stories have been told and violence has been committed against you. So stand up. Say something. Get uncomfortable. Change doesn't happen in your seats. Change doesn't happen with you just saying, this is my box and I'm going to stay in it. I'm good at this, so I'm just going to do that. I don't worry about anything else. Yes, get really good at what you do, but understand there are other things that are happening in the community that will directly impact you. So get good at it. Understand what's happening. And in this school, in this particular community, you need to take up more space here. This is your school. You need to be educated here. You need to say, you're in Jane and Finch, York University, you're going to speak our language. And you are going to represent us the way we're supposed to be represented. The onus is on you, though. Nobody will come speak to you because, frankly, sometimes they're scared of it because of the story that's been told about you. So you take up space. These next hours, few hours, ask questions. Get to understand what's happening. Yes, you'll be bored, but ask questions. Make it mean something to you, because they're telling your stories without you. If you remember only one thing about what I say today, remember this: nothing about you without you. Can you say that with me? Nothing about you without you. One more time. Nothing about you without you. Personalize it. Nothing about me without me. One more time.
Nothing about me without me.
But if it is to be, I'll say it again. If it is to be, it starts with me. So you have to stand up. You have to be more. You have to get uncomfortable, because nothing will be without it starting with you. Thank you guys for listening to me. Have a good rest of your day.